Whew, July. No, I tell the truth. Unlike The Little Girl in The Children's Hour, starring Audrey Hepburn and Shirley MacLaine, this is a film about a little girl. And she tells her grandmother, "My two teachers are lesbians," or words to that effect. She basically accuses two teachers running like a small school in the US of basically, being lesbians, and this being 1960s America, it causes scandal, outrage, and it ruins the lives of these two teachers. Two leads, Audrey Hepburn, Shirley MacLaine, are excellent. There's James Garner as Audrey Hepburn's love interest as well. I think his name's James Garner. He was the guy with Donald Pleasance in The Great Escape, that one. He's in there. It's a really good, really compelling film. But unlike similar British films of the time that dealt with, queerness and queer subject matters, like Dirk Bogart's Victim, this is very small c conservative. Still, it's a fantastic film. It's one I'd recommend watching. I watched a fair bit of Audrey Hepburn these last couple of months, actually. I also watched Breakfast at Tiffany's. You didn't need to include Mickey Rooney in there, did you? He's not in the book. You didn't need to include him. In fact, he doesn't add anything to the plot. You can cut him out of that film, easily, and it changes nothing. Doesn't have an effect whatsoever. Re-edit it. Go on. Re-edit Breakfast at Tiffany's to remove Mickey Rooney. Robin and Marian as well. I think I watched this one in June, I think. That's an interesting take on the Robin Hood legend, with Audrey Hepburn as Maid Marian and Sean Connery as Robin Hood. They play like an older version of them. Robin's he's like an old man now, and he's just come back from the Crusades. He left Marian 20 years ago. She's a nun, and it's mainly about them rekindling their romance. And it's one of the better Robin Hood films. It does something interesting with the legend. It does something compelling with the legend. And it's also, so far, the only Robin Hood film to include, and this is a minor spoiler by the way, it's the only Robin Hood film to include the legend of Robin Hood's last shot, the last time he fires a bow. You know the old joke. Robin calls for his bow and he says, "Wherever this arrow lands, bury him in." So they bury him in the wardrobe. It's the only one to include that bit of the legend. And that alone makes it a Robin Hood film worth watching. I actually found a new favourite in July, and that's The Navigator, a medieval Odyssey. It's a New Zealand film from the 1980s. It's very, very artistic, but it's about a group of medieval villagers in Cumbria, and they find out the Black Death is coming. So in order to stave it off, in order to prevent it, in order to save their village, they start following the prophecies of a child. Just keep up with it. It is a bit weird, but there's this child who has this vision, and if they put a cross on the tallest church in the world, then God will notice their village and he will spare them. So they dig through the centre of the earth and they wind up in present day New Zealand. It sounds like one of those time travel comedies you sometimes get, doesn't it? It sounds like that French one, Just Visiting, Le Visiteur. I think it's called Le Visiteur. It sounds a bit like it might be something like Enchanted, where the fairy tale princess ends up in modern day New York and she gets up to all the scrapes and stuff. But it's nothing like them at all. In fact, it treats its subject matter with such seriousness, and it shows how the medieval peasants are bewildered and overwhelmed and confused by the modern world, and it is fantastic in that regard. There's one really dramatic scene in there, like quite near the beginning, where the peasants have to cross a dual carriageway, a main road, a highway, a busy highway, and they are frightened by this, they are scared by this highway, and it is a compelling, gripping scene. The whole film is compelling and gripping and artistic, and it is one I would recommend seeking out, finding, watching. It's one that deserves to be much, much better known. I found it on the BFI player, the sort of streaming service run by the British Film Institute. It was on there. I watched it and I thought, wow, this is great. I love this film. This film deserves to be better known. Another one I found on there was Sebastian, a queer film about a journalist who goes undercover as a male escort. Don't want to give too much of the plot away, but he sort of decides, I'm going to write this novel about being a male escort, right? So he creates this pseudonym. He signs up to an online escort agency, and the film is about how this starts affecting his life, his work, his journalism, and it's about the journey. Oh, that's a horrible way of describing it. It's about how he gets in too deep. It's not a perfect film, I don't think. It talks about the dark underbelly of being an escort, of why people do this. And I found it a really compelling, interesting, thought-provoking film. Superman! It was alright. Wasn't amazing. It was better than any of the dross that was with the previous 10 years of DC films, apart from, the Batman. It was alright. It was a decent watch, not a film I particularly remember much about. There's a giant lizard at one point, some portals. Nicholas Hoult is great as Lex Luthor. Other than that, it's fine. Probably the best Superman film since Superman 2, maybe. I needed a couple of comfort watches at the end of the month because, well, there are evil children. You might have seen my previous video where I was being plagued by children sneaking into my yard. Yeah, they're making my life a living hell right now, and there was one couple of days where I just needed a couple of comfort watches. So I watched Hans Christian Andersen with Danny Kaye, which is always one of my go-to comfort watches. And I also watched Lassie Come Home. It's one of those films that just feels like a warm hug. It's a film that feels, oh, it's miserable as heck, but it feels like a comforting old friend. A dog, an old faithful friend, come to sit by your side. Even though it's set in Yorkshire, and everyone's doing a Scottish accent for some reason. Well, it's partly set in Yorkshire, all the characters are Yorkshiremen and Yorkshire women. But everyone's doing a Scottish accent, including the dog. I take the Michael out of this, especially, the last scene where Lassie and Joe are reunited. Oh, Lassie, Lassie, my Lassie's come home. Oh, you've come home, Lassie. Lassie, you've come home. Oh, Lassie, you've got a Scottish accent, Lassie. Oh, Lassie. But, I love it, really. It's a warm hug. It's a film to put on when you need to feel alive. That's going too far. When you need to feel comfort. When you need that old friend by your side. And that was a nice film to end the month on. I really have gone mad, haven't I?